Level 1. The Invisible Man. You are pushing a gray mop bucket down a marble corridor that smells faintly of floor wax and the linseed oil the curators use to polish the antique frames. It is 2:17 in the morning on a Thursday. The amber security lamps hum above you in a low brass tone you have learned to tune out over the last 7 years. You earn $15.20 an hour. Your keyring weighs exactly 2 4/10 pounds and knocks softly against the side of your knee with every step. You are 38 years old. Your right knee throbs with a dull, weather-sensitive ache from kneeling on stone floors. No one on the daytime staff at this regional art museum knows that you have a daughter. To the curators and the docents and the men in pressed shirts who hang the new acquisitions, you are barely a shadow. You finish the east wing and drag your cart into the supply closet behind the gift shop. You sit on a crate of paper towels for your 15-minute break. Your phone case is split along the back. You cannot afford the $54 replacement. Your banking app shows $237.62. Rent is due on Friday, and it is $740. You slide a small rectangle of thermal paper from your shirt pocket. You bought it on Tuesday at the laundromat on Buchanan Street, the one with the broken dryer that eats quarters, while your uniforms were tumbling. You did not choose the numbers. You asked the clerk for a quick pick because your daughter, Ren, used to like watching the lottery machine print tickets when she was small. The winning numbers load slowly on the cracked screen. 7, 19, 26, 38, 44. The red ball is 9. You look at the paper. Every digit matches. The jackpot at the top of the page reads $50 million. You do not cry. 6 meters beyond the closet door, behind alarmed glass, a Roman marble portrait head sits on its pedestal, and through the open doorway you swear the stone face is looking back at you, as if it has been waiting 2,000 years for you to do exactly this. Level 2. The Inheritance. You finish your shift because your hands do not yet know how to do anything else. You buff a streak of black ink off the floor of the Impressionist gallery, 3 meters from a cassette of a mother bathing a child. You do not look up. You drive home in your 15-year-old Ford Ranger to the studio apartment you rent above a Polish bakery on 6th Avenue. You do not sleep. You slide the ticket into a coloring book Ren left behind at her last visit, between a half-colored unicorn and a cluster of orange stars. You place the book inside a metal lockbox you bought at a hardware store 11 years ago. With shaking hands, you order online the entire American Girl historical collection for Ren's 9th birthday, which is 3 weeks away. The total is $11,400. Your credit card declines at $4,000. You put the rest on a payday loan at 36% interest. You ship the box that Thursday. 2 weeks later, the box returns to your doorstep, intact, every label still pristine. A single note is taped to the lid in Diane's handwriting. Return to sender. We do not accept gifts you cannot afford. Level 3. The Architects. You do not call the local attorney who handled your divorce. You borrow a laptop from the museum's IT card, and, on a dead Sunday morning in the conservator's office, you use the Tor browser to find a forum where men who win things speak in code. You learn the word fiduciary. You learn the word irrevocable. You find a firm in Wilmington that will speak to no one in person, only through certified mail and a P.O. box on Walnut Street. They send a non-disclosure agreement 41 pages long. You sign every page with a Bic pen you bought at Dollar Tree. 6 weeks of letters back and forth follow. The gross cash option is $25,200,000. The federal government takes 37%. Pennsylvania takes another bite. The number that lands in your blind trust is $13,847,290.16. The senior partner writes you a letter on heavy stock listing the structures, an irrevocable dynasty trust for Ren, a revocable trust for you, 3 layered LLCs to obscure the source. The first thing you ask him in your reply is not about taxes. You ask whether a wealthy father has a better chance in family court than a poor one. He writes back 2 sentences. Sometimes, less often than you think. Level 4. The Visitation. You hire the best family attorney in Philadelphia. Her hourly rate is $890. She is a woman with silver glasses who does not waste a syllable. You file a petition to expand your visitation from 28 days a year to 84. You submit an 18-page binder. Portfolio statements. A 529 plan seeded with $400,000. A draft trust establishing $2 million for Ren's adulthood. Renderings of a future bedroom, future bookshelves, future quiet. Diane responds within the week. Her attorney brings to the deposition a single exhibit, A printout of an email you sent in October 2022 explaining you could not attend Ren's piano recital because the museum had moved you to a double shift. The judge is a woman with a small enamel hummingbird pinned to her lapel. She does not look at your bank statement. She looks at the photograph of the empty chair in the recital program, the one Diane keeps in a frame on her mantle, and she looks at you for a long, unblinking moment. The petition is denied. The court costs are $19,400. You wire them in 7 seconds. Level 5, the migration. You sell the studio above the Polish bakery. You buy a 40-acre farmstead at the end of a gravel road in Chester County for $1,800,000. The previous owner, a widower, leaves behind a barn full of broken tractor parts and a pond stocked with bluegill. The address is exactly 6 minutes by car from the front gate of Greenfield Elementary, where Ren is in 4th grade. You hire a renovation firm. You spend another $900,000. A miniature tennis court because Ren told you, once, on a winter visit, that she liked tennis. A shallow pool with a heated kiddie section. A treehouse with insulation and a small wood stove and a window that faces east toward the school. You stand in the center of the new lawn one September afternoon, holding a cup of coffee gone cold in your hand, and you hear the distant low bell from Greenfield ring at 3:15. Children's voices, faint, ride the wind through the pines. You have moved closer to her than you have ever been in your adult life. You have never been further away. Level 6, the empty bedroom. The second floor of the farmhouse has 6 rooms. You convert the one with the eastern window into a bedroom for Ren. You paint the walls a soft cyclamen pink because you remember the cardigan she wore on Christmas morning when she was 5. You buy the entire American Girl historical collection again, this time without it being returned. 38 dolls. $11,400. You shelve them in chronological order along one wall. You hire a rare book dealer in Brooklyn to assemble a first edition Roald Dahl library, dust jackets intact, $58,000 for the set. You commission a life-size wooden rocking horse from a craftsman in Vermont. You leave the door open. You sleep 3 nights on a velvet armchair in the hallway outside that door, listening for footsteps that cannot come. Somewhere around the 3rd dawn you realize you have built a museum. You are the night janitor again. Only this time the artifacts on the pedestals have her name handwritten on the placards in your own slow, careful script. Level 7, the sponsorship. You cannot give the gifts. You give the proximity instead. You sponsor, anonymously, the entire Greenfield Elementary String Orchestra. $340,000. New cellos from Cremona. New violins for the 4th graders. A new conductor poached from the Curtis Institute on a 3-year salary guarantee. You sit in the front row at the winter concert in a gray suit you bought from a tailor in Center City. Ren walks onto the stage with her cello, sees you in the front row, and her face does something you cannot read. She plays. 2 weeks later, the principal sends a public letter thanking a generous, anonymous parent. Diane reads it. Diane is not stupid. She withdraws Ren from the orchestra the next morning. At the spring concert, you go anyway. The seat with the brass nameplate that reads Ren is empty. The other parents recognize you from the newspaper and shift their folding chairs 2 meters away in either direction. The conductor lifts his baton. The orchestra plays a Vivaldi arrangement written for 9-year-old hands that no 9-year-old you love will ever play. Level 8, the smear. Diane files for a restraining order. The petition uses a phrase her attorney coined, manipulation of a minor through capital deployment. You spend an hour at the kitchen island of your $2.7 million farmhouse looking up what that means. The local paper, the Daily Local News, picks up the docket. The headline runs the next morning. Powerball janitor stalks ex-wife's daughter with money. The story is shared 14,000 times in a county of 520,000 people. You cannot respond without revealing more. Your attorney negotiates a settlement instead of risking a hearing. You pay Diane $620,000. You sign a stipulation prohibiting direct contact with Ren until her 18th birthday. You may send funds only through a third-party trustee. You may not appear at her school, her recitals, her sporting events, her birthday parties, her doctor's visits, her graduation. You sign your name 23 times. With each signature you sell back one of the 9 years she has left as a child, in exchange for the right to still pay for them. Level 9, the allowance. Every month, on the 1st, your trustee wires $8,500 into a custodial account for Ren. Her birthday comes. She turns 10. Diane permits one 15-second video call, monitored. Ren appears on your screen wearing a sweater you did not buy her. She reads, from a card in her lap, a sentence she has clearly been instructed to say. Thank you, sir, for the gift. Sir. She does not look at the camera. Diane laughs softly somewhere off frame. The call ends. You sit in the kitchen of the farmhouse, in front of the 3-door Sub-Zero refrigerator that cost more than the car you drove for a decade, and you open the freezer. You take out a single packet of Marukan ramen, chicken flavor, 32 cents at the Acme down the road. You boil water in a copper pot. You eat it standing up at the Marble Island. It tastes like nothing. The noodles taste like nothing for the same reason a $300 steak in any penthouse would have tasted like nothing. The flavor never came from the food. The flavor came from the small body that used to sit on the kitchen counter beside you and steal the noodles off your fork. Level 10, the custodian. One Thursday in March, at 2:17 in the morning, you drive back to the Regional Art Museum. You never formally resigned. Your magnetic key card still works. You let yourself in through the loading dock. The supply closet behind the gift shop is exactly as you left it. The gray mop bucket. The crate of paper towels. The faint smell of linseed oil. You push the cart down the marble corridor. You buff a streak of dust off the protective glass of the Vermeer reproduction. 6 meters away, the Roman marble portrait head sits on its pedestal, and through the open doorway it is looking back at you the way it was looking the night the numbers matched. You realize you traveled $13.8 million in a straight line to arrive at the exact spot you began. The only difference is that now your phone holds a number you are not permitted to dial, and a courthouse 2 counties over holds a file about a child you are not permitted to hold. You were a janitor who cleaned up after strangers. Now you sweep the floors of a museum no one will ever visit, the museum of every birthday she will live without you. The lottery ticket did not change who you cleaned up after. It only changed the name on the dust. You stand in the velvet silence forever, wiping the edge of a doorway she will never